Hi there, amazing dog parents. Have you ever wondered what is the best product or treatment that you can do for your arthritic dog? Well, Lorna and I are here. We're both pet health professionals, and we have had many years of research and experience that we can help you make the best decisions for your dog. So, hello, Lorna. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Kylie. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your arthritic dog.
So my arthritic dog is actually only 4 years old, which is people think it's pretty young, but from studying and working with loads of dogs and going and seeing dogs for massage, I actually learned that it's not that unusual. Rio is a German Shepherd. If I can get her to come up here, I will show you. Can you see her head?
Hello, baby girl.
Rio
Hi.
is a
Hi,
German Shepherd.
gorgeous.
And when we got her, we knew that she may have problems with her hips or, classic German Shepherd issues, hip dysplasia, spinal issues, those kind of things. So we were really careful and onto it. And we actually got her x-ray to see how her hips were when we got her desexed, which was only a year and a half ago. And that's when we found she actually has arthritis. So now we kind of target her training and her supplements and her lifestyle more towards arthritis overall rather than just the hips and preventing hip dysplasia.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my dog. How about you?
So I have my baby girl Freya. She is almost 13 years old. She's a husky. And she has arthritis through her hips and her knees and her back, and I think it's also around her shoulders and her neck as well. The X-rays, because X-rays don't always reflect the amount of arthritis. Sometimes an X-ray will show up that there's lots of arthritis, and yet it doesn't clinically relate to their pain or their function. And when I was worried, we got an X-ray and it showed no arthritis. I'm like, no, just the way she moves, the way she holds herself. I'm like, no, there's something going on. So it's not showing clinically on X-ray, but I think it's like for her, it's throughout. So
Yeah.
she's my precious baby girl, and yeah, just at the other end of the spectrum. So what was your girl's name again?
Rio.
Rio. I think yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it was just really important that you mentioned that. Yeah, she's 4, she's not that young, but yeah, having seen helped other dogs that are you know still puppies, they're 1 year old and they're getting arthritis, and I think it's
Yeah.
so these arthritic tips just aren't for older dogs, they're also for any age dogs that have
Yeah.
that have the diagnosis.
Yeah.
So the first thing we want to share is what we use for our bedding for our dogs. So Lorna, what do you use for Rio?
We have a bed made by a New Zealand company called Life of Riley. And the reason we chose them was first because it's local, but also because I had loads of great reviews and it's made out of wool. And the reason we chose wool is because Rhea's a German Shepherd. She is really, really fluffy, which you can tell from the hair all over my house. So she gets really, really hot in the summer, to the point where she would like to sleep outside. So the reason we chose wool is that it cools in the summer. It is warming in the winter so that she doesn't seize up and get achy joints. But also because it holds its shape really well, so it supports her body. The bed we have is the extra large one, the biggest one we could get, even though she still sleeps with her head hanging off the end every single night, like everyone's dogs.
Yeah.
And also because wool is known to be pretty clean, it kills bacteria. And we live on a farm, so that was something else that was really important to us.
Amazing. And how long have you had your bed for?
Pretty much since we found out that she confirmed had arthritis, probably about a year, just over a year ago now, when it started getting cold.
Yeah. And do the other dogs in the pack, do they like to just use it because it's comfy?
Yeah, when I put it in here today, my big rescue Staffy mix lay down on it and wouldn't get off. And every time I wash the covers, they have another one that's a bit thinner for massage. Every time I wash the covers, at least one dog is straight onto the bed no matter where I lay out. I have to keep my massage one in the car or in a different room so that my dogs don't lie on it
Or
constantly.
they'll steal it. Yep.
Yeah.
We use an Australian brand called Stand Beds. So it's patented and therapeutic and non-toxic. And so I I found out that some dog beds can be filled with carcinogens. And so I wanted to have, like, wool that's very natural. I wanted to make sure that my bedding also was natural. So we use Stand Beds. Um, they're really, like, we've had them for about 5 years. We got, I think, the second largest size. And so they're really durable, which is fantastic. They're like, the height also helps them be able to kind of put their paws and then get up. So it kind of
Yes,
means
mine
that,
is the same. It's about 20 centimeters. I think it's like 17, 18 centimeters off the ground. So it's not just like her laying on the ground. She's got a bit of room to move her legs around and push up. Same thing.
yeah, and it's like, it's soft, so it kind of like is comfortable, but it's not too soft, because the thing that you're worried when you're looking for a dog bed is that you don't want something where they just sink to the ground,
Yeah.
because that's not supporting their joints, and that's going to make the arthritic joints even more uncomfortable and stiff and sore.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're looking for a dog bed, I would be looking at something where so like Lorna has a washable cover, we have washable covers, so just in case they have accidents, like particularly for my senior dog, where she is more likely, like if she's not incontinent, but if she goes to the toilet, if she's got a sloppy poo, then she might bring that in and then lie down on her bed, and then I need to wash her bedding. So make sure it's can be removed and washed. Make sure that it's firm, but still comfortable, and yeah, that height is important as well. And we can put links to these recommendations in the YouTube video as well. All right, so the next thing is so flooring. So Lorna, when you do your rehab exercises, what flooring do you have in your area?
I always try and use non-slip. So we've got myriad of rugs in our house. There are rugs everywhere.
Yeah.
But I also always recommend to people get like mats for carpet, or you can put a towel down, or just anything that will stop that slippiness. Another thing as well is keeping their nails short and the fur in between their paw pads, because like put a rug down, but we still go to places with the dogs, or they might come across the slippery floors. So just giving them like the maximum chance, keeping all of that fur out of their paw pads and their nails. But yeah, those are my favorite. And also, I'm a big fan of steps and stuff into cars and onto couches, so they're not jumping a lot. And I prefer how you can get the material steps rather than the plasticky ones, just because those, again, not as slippery.
Yeah, and I struggle because a lot of our exercise equipment is quite kind of plasticky, and so
Mhm.
like I have bought so much non-slip tape and just having to put it all on all my equipment because it's
Yeah.
it's just too risky.
Like
That
platforms and steps.
Yeah, yeah. So like on like the step piece of equipment, or like I've got that wedge, which is like a big kind
Mhm.
of heel. I put
Yeah.
on there. There's little steps that I've put on as well. Yeah, so non-sleep is so important, and definitely. So how often do you I mean, because you're a groomer as well, so that's super duper handy. You can trim their nails
Yeah.
and trim the fur on their paws as well. So how often would you do that?
It depends on the dog, but if you're capable of doing it at home, do it every week, because that also helps them get used to it. It doesn't make it as scary as when you just take them to the vet. You go to your yearly vet and then they clip their nails, and then that makes them hate the vet even more too. I really think taking the time to work on a bit of cooperative care and just making them more comfortable with that is a really good thing. So the more regular, the better. And then also, everyone's terrified of clipping nails, right? it's less scary if you do it every week because the quick will never be at the end. You know, you'll always work it
Yeah.
back, so you've got far less chance of cutting them or making them bleed. So yeah,
Yes.
definitely that. Also with the equipment thing, lots of companies sell that like slippery stuff because it's wipe clean, right? Work with dogs, they slobber on things. You want to be able to wipe them after each dog, keep them like that. But maybe even having like rolls of fake grass, it's cheap as at the hardware store, and then you can cut it, use it, and when it gets gross, just throw it away for your own dog. I
Yeah.
think is yeah, we'll cup it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I've always trimmed the fur pad using scissors,
Yeah,
and I actually bought a little like electric razor thingy that was like on
yeah,
Amazon, particularly for pets, and
yeah.
Freya hates it. And I'm like, you know what? It's actually, I think she's
Because of
scared
the
of the
vibrating.
noise. And so
Yeah,
I'm just kind of like, oh, it's just so much quicker for me to use the scissors.
yeah,
And I know like you've got to be super careful in which, like, you don't want to stab them with the, the pointy bit of the scissors, but I've never had a problem. And I just find that it's so much easier to do because our house is floorboards. And
yeah,
so yeah, we've got so many we've got like these exercise mats which are like the kids play mats, and they're all different colors, they're all throughout the entire house.
yeah,
Because yeah, I've just never wanted Freya to slip, because yeah,
yeah,
I just don't want to risk that injury or exacerbating that arthritis. So yeah,
yeah,
definitely flooring is really important. Anything that's easily washable, that is affordable. Like I love yoga mats, but I find them really hard to wash.
yeah,
Just the surface is just really hard, whereas I can mop over um the colored pads a lot easier. Like I just feel like they're easier to
yeah,
clean. But yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, it depends on personal preference and budget, and
yeah,
what type of flooring you choose, but definitely really, really important, particularly when you're exercising,
yeah.
because we
And
don't
just in
want
high
them.
areas that they use a lot, near where
Yeah,
their food bowls are.
yeah.
I mean, having those like portable mats for when they get out, when you have to give them a bath and they get out of the shower, and our bathroom floors are always tile, right? Just having ones that you can chuck down. For the scissors, for anyone that doesn't want to stab the dog or they have a wriggly dog, get the little baby ones that have the curved ends, for nails. And then you can't
Ah,
stab them because they have curved ends. Top tip.
clever. I like it. I'm going to buy a pair and see how Freya goes with them, because I wonder if yeah, she'll tolerate them a bit better as well.
Yeah, less
Um,
rest.
All right, next, it will talk about the supplements that we use. And I know this is like the $1 million question is which supplement. And I know that lots of people like giving multiple supplements, like particularly multiple joint supplements, because they're just trying to combat everything, using supplements for arthritis. But we um, only use like one each. And so
We use a couple. My main focus is on food first, good quality food first, and then on supplements second.
yeah. So do you want to mention what supplements so what joint supplements do you use?
Yep, you're frozen. Oh, you're back. So we do feed raw, so we try and feed as much fish as possible, first and foremost. Not only because it's really good for all the dog's joints, but actually it's real good for their skin. And like our Staffy gets quite itchy skin, so it's really good all round. And then everyone gets green up muscle. I use a brand called Tandem. They're New Zealand based, but they also sell in Australia. I'm going the opposite way to the camera. So first of all, we use green up muscle every single day. There's obviously loads of benefits to green up muscle, omega-3s, the acids. Not only do they support joint mobility, but they like fish oils lubricate too. So it's an awesome prevention as well. And because of that, I find it reduces pain, keeping the joints kind of supple. Also supports cartilage. And then I use two different kinds of bone broth. This one is the venison, so it's made by the same people. We use beef. None of our dogs are allergic to beef, so we use beef, but they also do have venison, which I really like because loads of dogs that I see are allergic to beef or gives them a bad gut or bad skin. So I really like having that other option. And that's the same thing. It's shown to reduce inflammation, again, lubricates the joints, loaded up with glucosamine. Then the last thing that we use, and this is just for Rio, is called PEA. Can you see that? I actually think this is the human one, because it has exactly the same benefits for humans. But you can get especially dog branded ones. Depending on where you are, I think it would be different brands. But PEA is it's an antihistamine. It's got anti-inflammatory properties, and it also works in the same way as CBD oil, that it kind of intercepts the pain receptors. So it actually reduces pain, not just from, making the joints a bit healthier, but it actually has benefits to reduce pain itself. And since we've introduced this, she doesn't take regular pain medication anymore. She takes it when she needs it, but not on a regular basis. So yeah, those are my 3 recommendations. And I also just think that less is probably more with supplements. If you can only use 2 or 3, it's probably actually better for your dog and definitely your wallet, rather than having, 10 different ones that you have to rotate and you have to scoop out and do this. So first and foremost, load them up with actual fish. And then, yeah.
And I think also, like, the more stuff you kind of try and put in their food bowl, it's like, like, what if they stop eating it because they don't like one particular taste? And then how do you assess which ones are actually working? And so that's why I've always only ever used one supplement. And honestly, is it working? I don't know. But I use it, like, I don't recommend like people use things that they don't know the effect of. But the difficulty about assessing the effect of it is that in order for me to really tell if it's working, is I'd have to kind of like stop everything else and see what happens to her mobility. And like, it could be that, like, I've introduce her to new exercises. So maybe it's the exercises that are helping her, because she has been more mobile lately. So I'm like, is it the exercises? Is it the joint supplement? Is it like, but the thing is, at the end of the day, arthritis is a multimodal approach. We need a bit of everything. And sometimes, like, I just give her one joint supplement and I base it on science, because I know that green lip mussel is like clinically helpful. And so I use the one that has the most amount of green lip mussel that I can find. And that is in Australia. It's called Mavlab Dentavet. So it's also with the teeth thing, but it's not about the teeth for me. It's about the amount of green lip mussel. And it's even got more, because we previously used Foresight, and that actually had less. And so that's why I transitioned to this, and it's a powder, and I just add a little bit of water to her food in the morning. All right, cool. So in regards to other pain relief strategies, I guess the most important for us being pet health professionals is, of course, our exercises. So Lorna, tell us, what does Rio do for her exercise programs?
So the top of the list and the most important is that she moves every single day, and I don't necessarily mind how that is. She's a German Shepherd, so she's really bad at having rest days anyway. So there are some days that are really intense for her, and there are other days where she's more relaxed. That will still be like walking and running around the farm, but it won't be go out and do things, do exercises, or do specific stuff. When we're working on like actual targeted things, proprioception is pretty important for me, like her learning where her feet are in relation to her body, so that she doesn't have slips, doesn't have trips, doesn't have falls, or she's less likely to have all those things, to support her legs, and also to make sure she's using the right muscles. Because the good thing for us about her having it young is that we have a lot of time to keep building that muscle that support her joints. So we know it's obviously going to progress, because arthritis always does, but now we can give her the best possible chance. So Cavaletti, we do have Cavaletti poles, but also I just love making stuff out on the farm, getting sticks, putting them on rocks, or getting her to climb over stuff, walking on uneven surfaces. Like, I love being out there in the wild doing stuff with her.
And you've got so much of that in your social media content. And I love the lateral thinking in saying that, I mean, in Sydney, we don't have that amount of land, but it just shows you that you can use nature, or you can substitute with things in your home. So you don't necessarily have to buy all the fancy equipment. There's definitely ways that we can strengthen our dogs at home or outside, by challenging those muscles to grow. And I
Yeah,
think for Freya, because she is almost 13, so arthritis itself causes muscle loss because there's like a pain deactivation around the muscles. But on top of that, we have the fact that she is 13, and we've got
yeah,
sarcopenia, which is an age-related muscle loss. And so we're, with our exercises, we're fighting both of those things to try and keep as much muscle mass as we can to keep her mobile and functional.
yeah,
Because we know that dogs, arthritis is the second highest reason for elective euthanasia. And I believe that's mostly because, they lose their function. They can't walk. And it's like, well, but if they had strengthening exercises, they could have still been
yeah.
able to maintain that function and lived a longer life. And so that's why I think our strengthening exercises are so important. And for you amazing pet parents, like both Lorna and I have some, we'll link you to some free resources we have, but we also both have exercise programs via our apps that we can teach you how to do those strengthening exercises at home to help them have less pain, to have more mobility, to have more function, a better quality of life, and ultimately a longer life as well. And we'll
Yeah.
link all of those down in the description of the YouTube video as well. So yeah, with Freya, I don't put a huge emphasis on walking. Like I love walking for her because she loves sniffing, and I love taking her out for that. But I know that, it's been raining here in Sydney. So I'm like, if it rains, I'm like, that's okay. I'm going to spend, 10, 15 minutes exercising her inside instead. So she's still getting that mental stimulation. She's still getting that, the muscle strengthening, and which keeps her more mobile and happy as well. So we do a lot of work on the steps and the cushions. So Lorna, if you had to suggest to our pet parents what, if they were to buy a piece of equipment, what would you say would be the best first piece of equipment they should purchase, and why?
Um, I always think Cavaletti poles, even if it's not legitimate Cavaletti poles, go buy some garden canes or, anything that you can use because there's so many different things you can do with those. And it doesn't even just have to be you. I think they're kind of fun. So you can get the kids to make stop courses. You can, get everyone involved to doing stuff. So I think Cavaletti poles would be the top of my list. You can do them outside in the garden in the summer, inside in the house. They don't take up a lot of room. They're not expensive. I think that's probably a good start. And there's loads of benefits for a dog, and you can use them on young dogs or old dogs. And yeah, I think you can keep progressing with them easily rather than one piece of equipment that only really has one function
Yeah.
or is a massive bone and takes up loads of room because where do you store those?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I for cavalettis, so I would recommend using just broom handles. So if you've got like one broom and one mop and the vacuum cleaner, if you've got like one of those, the long stick
Yeah.
ones, I would just put them on the floor and let the dogs walk over them. Um, like we've got multiple mops and multiple brooms, so it's so they're kind of all the same thickness, and then you can elevate them like just with using books. Like I use books at the end. And so
Yeah.
yeah, so cavalettis I definitely love, though I have to say, like, any tips on how to find good quality ones? Because I found that the ones that I have bought previously, particularly because I also have kids in the house, they've broken them. So I mean, obviously anything can be broken. But how would you recommend looking for a good set of cavaletti poles?
Um, I honestly just think, yeah, whatever's in your budget, but something that is strong enough and sturdy. But I think it's important that you can also break it down and pack it down. So those ones that are like in half and you slide them together. Cones, because you can just stack them all away. And with the cones, they're better if they're a little bit hefty, a little bit weighty, so they don't fall over as much, I find. But yeah, for me, it's
Awesome. No,
just
that's really helpful.
Whatever's in your
I
budget, yeah, is more.
yeah. Yeah, of course. And yeah, we're all just doing the best we can with what we have. Like, I would never suggest someone to like buy all these expensive things and,
Mm,
mean that, they're trying to give their dog everything and they deserve
yeah,
everything. But of course, like you've got to find that balance between I need to look after myself, I need to be healthy, I need to be, mentally stable because otherwise I'm not going to be able to look after anyone else. So like, how do I look after myself and my dog at the same
yeah.
time?
Also, I think
One piece of
look, sorry, I interrupted you. Looking for things though that aren't for dogs, that are for kids, because like Kmart, places like
yes,
Kmart, they have so many good kids things that are
yeah,
like just what you need for dogs. But if you
yes,
search on the internet like dog
yes,
cuddling, it's really hard to find them. So yeah,
yes.
that is my main tip, I think. Just go looking in all their like outdoor play stuff in Kmart and Target and everywhere, and you'll find some really good things that aren't dog shaped, but they're
Yeah.
perfect.
We found like from Kmart, we got like these little steps, like the cushiony steps. We got like a little
Yeah.
ramp thing, and like even just the exercise equipment. Like if you actually, if you've got steps in your house, you can always just, front or back. You can always just use the steps for the step up and things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those are about $20. So these are like balance cushions, and that would probably be my first go-to,
Mhm.
because they're firm, but they're still like soft enough to be unstable. There are so many different exercises you can do with them. Like I like to do, the two ups and the two downs, and then we add like a shake or a rear leg lift, and we do figure eights on it and we do backup on it. So yeah, like you said, trying to find versatile equipment, something
Mm.
that you can do lots of different exercises, not just like one piece of equipment that only has one particular purpose, because then it's like, well,
Yeah.
ultimately we want to kind of alternate our exercises so that you don't do the same all the time. We want to address different muscle groups and change the intensity, which means that you might have to change equipment. So definitely versatility is a great one. um all right. Well, I guess did you, just to finish up, did you want to just have a little chat about your app?
Yeah, so my app is called the Canine Health Hub. It has got different sections broken down into exercises for what your dog's needs are. So if you have a puppy, it's broken down things you can do with your puppy to strengthen safely and also get them used to the world. There is one target for senior dogs, obviously, things that are targeted for hips or for ACL. There's loads in there, so much in there. Things for if you go jogging with your dog, that'd be great. My big focus is things you can do with what you have around. So use the cushions in your house, use chairs, use things that you have in the garden or things that you find on walks.
Yeah.
There's also a massage course in there because predominantly I'm a canine massage therapist. So everyone thinks that you have to have all these skills, but no, you can do it at home. You can definitely do it at home, and it
Yeah.
benefits all dogs, especially seniors, especially arthritis. Massage is so good for those joints, getting the blood to them, keeping things warm, keeping everything moving, and taking away the waste products that cause them all that pain.
Yeah.
Um, so there's those. Yeah, and you can download that for free in the App Store, or there's links on my socials or on the website. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
Amazing. And I particularly love, I think it's really good to do just kind of, I guess when you're doing exercises with puppies, we kind of call them, like tricks. And because they're not for therapeutic use, if they don't have an issue with diagnosis. But um I find that it is really hard. Like Kibber I had as a puppy, and so I always kind of taught him movements, and he was so much better doing the exercises. And sadly he passed last year. And Freya we got as a 4-year-old, and so she was a lot older, and then teaching her tricks, her exercises, she's just not as able, or like she just doesn't learn them as quickly as Kibber did. And so you can really
Mm.
tell the difference between kind of doing that purposeful training, because you hope that exercise will always play a role in their life, and even just activity is good. Like movement is great anyway. But when they do get older, or when they do have a diagnosis, that's when those exercises and the prior training is just so much more important, because you can actually do all those exercises that
Yeah.
are going to be beneficial. So I love that you've got that little puppy section in there. And especially, like, I don't do anything, like I am qualified in canine massage, but I haven't done a course or anything like that in my app. But I think for Lorna, like, she's got this canine massage like course in the app, and it's so affordable. It's $110 a year for like Australian, or like less than like $15 a month. So compared to some of those massage courses can cost hundreds of dollars, you can get a lot of that information just from Lorna's app. And my app is called the Dog Rehab App. So I focus on particular conditions. So I look at mainly like shoulder arthritis, hip arthritis. I also look at seniors, cranial cruciate ligament injury, and I also kind of look at back and neck exercises. I haven't kind of classified them as a like an injury or a disease as such, but there's also ones that are particularly good for like neck arthritis and back arthritis in there as well. Cool. So Lorna, anything else you'd like to add before we finish up?
Don't think so. Just say hi to all of your dogs from both me and Kylie. Give them a
Yep,
pup
give
for
them lots of
us.
belly rubs.
And it was really good to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Bye from us.
Bye. Say bye.